Hello everyone. Alright, so I hope you're all doing well. Alright, so in the last video, I failed to mention that the modulus operator also has the same precedence as the multiplication and division sign. And so if you have a calculation like this, system.out.println, if you have a calculation like, let's say, 2 times 3 modulus 2, because actually I'm not done with this. Sorry, 2 times 3 divided by 2 modulus 3, they get done from left to right because the multiplication sign, the division sign, and the modulus sign all have the same precedence, and so this gets done from left to right. All right, I failed to mention that, so I just wanted you to see that. Okay. All right, so in this video, let's talk about the math class. Now, in the part of a Java program, I talked just a little bit about what a class is, or I just pointed out something. Now, we will learn more about classes and objects, but for now, I just want you to see or have a feel of the math class. Now, the math class, think of a class as some kind of library some kind of library that contains methods. Now, remember, in the part of a Java program, I mentioned that methods are basically a series of basically all a series of lines of code. It can be one or more, right? A series of lines of code that is basically wrapped up, or the lines of code are basically wrapped up and given a name. And basically, when that name is called or mentioned or used, right, the actual word for it or term for it is when that name is called. So when it's called, those series of lines, the series of lines get executed, they get run. And so that's what a method is, right? So a class contains all these methods that you can use. And so one class that's defined already by Java for you is called the math class. And so let's see an example of how it's used. So I'm going to create a system.out.println statement. And before you use it, you have to use a name, or basically refer to the name of the class, which is math, right? And then a dot. Now the dot is what's called an access operator. It's an operator in itself. It's an access operator. Basically, what it means is you're trying to access something, or you're trying to access a method in this math class or math library. Okay, math class. But you can think of it as a library. And so you're trying to access something or a method from this math class. And what are you trying to access? One of the methods. What's the name of the method? The name of the method, one method in the math class is called POW, right? And remember, a method, right, is basically a series of lines of code, or it can be one or more, that is basically wrapped up and given a name. And when that name is called or used, the series of lines of code get run or get executed. Now, methods also are defined in such a way that they need information. They need pieces of information so that they can use to basically work. Okay, they need those information to work. Sometimes methods are defined that way. Now, the way the POW method is defined is that it needs two pieces of information in order for it to work properly. And those two pieces of information that you provided are called arguments. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass in one argument over here, 4.0, and then I'm going to have a comma to separate the first argument, from the second argument, which is, let's say, 3.0. All right. And so what I've done, which is in the math class, I'm accessing the POW method, and the POW method is designed in such a way that it needs two pieces of information, a number, and another number, basically two numbers, and they're separated with a comma, And basically what happens is when you provide this POW method to these two pieces of information, what happens is it's going to raise this number basically to this number. So it's going to be 4.0 raised to the power 3.0. Okay, that's how it works. The series of lines of code in this method is designed in such a way that it's going to raise this first number to the second number, and when it's done, it's going to spit out. The actual word for it is it's going to return the result. So this whole thing is going to return the result, and because this whole thing is in a system.out.println statement, whatever is returned from this math.pow method call is going to be displayed on the screen for us to see. So when I compile this, and I run this, just a moment, run this, we can see 64, right? And we can check this. So you can also do something like 2.0, okay, raised to the power 2.0. Compile this, run it, and it works, right? You can even make them integers. It doesn't have to be doubles or floats. Compile this, and run it, and we still get 4.0. And so we will talk more about classes, we'll talk more about methods, but I just wanted you to, start having a feel of it and how the math class, the math class works, and then how you can use the dot operator or the access operator to access these methods, right? Now we can also do something like this. I'm going to go ahead and create a variable. I'm going to call this answer. So answer, I'm going to basically create a double variable, call this answer, because sometimes these calculations can result in a double. Actually, this is returned as a double. And so answer is going to be equal to, all right? Now I'm going to basically cut this statement and paste it here and then terminate it. And so math is the class. Dot operator, I'm accessing the POW method. Now there are so many methods in the math class, and I'll show you in a second. I'm passing in two pieces of information separated by a comma, because that's how the POW method is defined. It needs two pieces of information. In other words, two numbers, basically two numbers. And what happens is it raises the first number to the second number, and the result is returned. This whole statement over here returns. Okay, this math.pow 2, 2, okay, in parentheses, returns the answer of 2 raised to the power 2. And answer will be stored here. That answer will be stored here in this variable answer, which is declared as a double. Now I can go ahead and print out answer, compile this, and we see the result here. Okay, and you can add more operators to this, basically do more calculations with this. Now this whole statement here, this whole math.pow 2, 2 in parentheses returns the result. You can do a whole bunch of things with the result. All right, so like I said, we'll talk more about classes and methods, but in order to see the math class and all the methods, you can go on the internet, go to Google, and just type in. By the way, I'll provide a link to it in the description, but I just wanted to show you this. And type in math class Java, and the first link you should see is a link to the class defined by Java itself, right? So when you click this, you can see the math class. Now it can look very confusing, right? But basically it lists all the methods here, right here where it says method and description. It lists all these methods, and before you use these methods, right, you refer to the name of the class like this, the math dot. Okay, dot is accessing the methods in the class, and you provide the name of the method. And then when those methods are called or mentioned, basically when they're called, what is defined, there's a series of lines of codes in that method when it was defined is basically executed, or basically they are executed. And so this has a description over here. So you can say math.abs, which basically returns the absolute value of a double value, and a whole bunch of them. I'm going to find Command F or Control F to find POW, and I did this before. And let's try this again. POW, and it's over here. So POW it's defined in such a way that it needs two arguments, two pieces of information, and it tells you it returns the value of the first argument raised to the power of the second argument. So that's what's returned, right? That's what's returned, and so that's exactly what we're doing here. I'll provide this link in the description so you can go there directly. And so this is the math class. Okay, there are a bunch of other methods we can use, but we've seen POW. So if you have any questions, okay, please comments down below, and I'll do everything to respond to them. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see more of the math class. We'll see it in the future, so don't worry about it. I just wanted you to have a feel of it now. All right, I'll see you next time with the next video. All right then, bye bye.